You looking like trouble. What they call you, ma?
They call me Mimi.
Cute name. Fitting too. Me, ChiTown. Don't forget it.
Gotta handle mine.
ChiTown 2.0, Chapter 4, When Ambition Wakes Up. The Austin neighborhood had its own rhythm, its own beat, its own swag, its own everything. The sirens, the buses rattling down Madison, the old heads gambling behind the liquor store, the teenagers, even back then, pretending we weren't scared of nothing. I don't think we was scared of nothing, though. ChiTown moved through all of that with a quiet confidence. He had the money coming in. Mimi and Buttafly was holding them down. Life was going smooth for him. But smooth never lasts long in Chicago, especially when ambition starts whispering in other people's ears. Surreal, Rail Jones, the street boy / scholar. Rail wasn't cut from the same cloth as ChiTown, not originally. He grew up on the west side too, but his home looked a little different. His parents was middle class, married, steady jobs, clean house, family trips on holidays, church every Sunday, whether he wanted to go or not. The kind of black family other kids, they just wish they had. He was the third child of 4. Tanya was his older sister. She was sensible and she followed by the rules. Marcus, the oldest brother, he was quiet. He was one of them tech geeks. He went to college and he just never came back. Then there was Real, the charming middle son who was always into some mess. And Keisha, the baby sister, his parents spoiled to keep her out of trouble. College wasn't optional in their household. It was destiny. Expectations hung over Real's head like a uniform he didn't want to wear. His mama used to say, boy, God didn't put you on this earth to chase them damn streets. But the streets sang louder than any sermon. Real didn't grow up hungry. He grew up curious. Curious about the danger, curious about the fast money, and curious about the thrill of just, being one of them. So by 16, he was sneaking out the house. By 18, he had a baby by one of the girls on the block. She loved him, but she couldn't keep him from the streets either. By 21, he was running the streets for ChiTown full-time, hustling, stacking, learning how to maneuver without cracking under pressure. His parents, they never understood. Still don't. But Rail, he was addicted to the feeling of power that the streets gave him, the attention, the danger, and the freedom. So when ChiTown came home with the money, women, and the status, Rail wanted some of that action. The house on Washington and Menard. They settled in real smooth. Mimi and Buttafly, they was dancing at Arnie's. ChiTown was handling business out west. Real was with ChiTown, keeping an eye on things, making sure everything was what it was. So the money was flowing like a steady faucet. The apartment stayed warm, full, and lively. They was kicking it. But even in comfort, crack started forming. Mimi and Buttafly, both smart and hungry, they started thinking a little bigger. We could run this whole side of town, Buttafly whispered one morning as she was counting Arnie's money. Mimi said, ChiTown got a woman. Mimi was a real ride or die, stumped down. She wasn't going without ChiTown. She wasn't going. But ChiTown, he didn't want it. He liked the peace. He was cool with his simplicity. He liked his 2-woman household just the way it was. He living like a king, having it his way. But peace was boring to the people who was craving more. And real ambition was starting to itch under broke man's skin. So one morning, Real walked in the kitchen and heard Mimi and Buttafly whispering. 2 or 3 girls from Arnie's, Buttafly said, or even some from the Blade. We could bring in real money. Real froze in the hallway. A stable? Girls? Real serious, Pepe? He never said it out loud, But of course, he thought about it many times. This ain't something we can bring to ChiTown lightly, Mimi continued. Buttafly smiled slightly. Then maybe we don't bring it to him. Maybe we just start building. Mimi looked at her like, girl, bye. Buttafly, no. We don't lie to ChiTown. Ever. Buttafly whipped her head back like, sometimes men got to see the plan working before they support it. Right about that time, Rail stepped in the kitchen. Start what? So Mimi smiled. Buttafly didn't. A stable, she said boldly. More girls, more money. You ever think about being a pimp, Rail? Mimi, butter. But Rail's eyes lit up like a street light. You understand me? Talk to me, he said, leaning against the counter, voice kind of low. Buttafly said, you got the look, you got the charm. Girls already like you. Mimi shook her head, torn between fear and desire. She could see exactly what she's just unleashed. Rail was now thinking about the possibilities of power, of empire, and none of it involved waiting on ChiTown to get his permission. 2 days later, ChiTown walked in the apartment after a long day on the block and immediately felt the energy was kind of off. Mimi and Buttafly were whispering on the couch, Rail pacing in the kitchen. All their eyes snapped on ChiTown when he walked through the door. You know what I'm saying? Room got quiet. They just looking. What I missed, ChiTown said, throwing his keys down, looking around. Mimi sat up. ChiTown, we need to talk about the future. Buttafly crossed her legs slowly. Bigger move, Chi. Rail stepped forward. More money, more girls, more power. ChiTown looked at him, right? Chest tightening up because he looking like, man, well, he knew it was coming, but I guess he wasn't ready for the inevitable. The 3 people he trusted most were speaking a language he wasn't even ready for. Y'all trying to start something without me? He asked quietly. Nah, Mimi said quickly. We ain't never going behind your back, baby. We just don't want to stay small, Buttafly added. Rail said, you a boss, child. It's time to act like it. But ChiTown wasn't smiling. He rubbed his forehead, trying to breathe through the tension. They all was looking at him, waiting on him to lead, waiting for him to grow. But deep inside, ChiTown liked life the way it was. He had money, he had peace, he had women, and he had quiet. Okay? Why fix something that ain't broke? But now the people around him were changing, growing hungrier, growing more restless. And for the first time since ChiTown came home, he felt the pressure of leadership. So the shift begins. Later on that night, ChiTown stood on the balcony, smoking the blunt, staring at the city. The cold wind brushed against his face as he replayed everything. Buttafly's ambition, Mimi's worry, Rail's hunger, the idea of a stable, the threat of losing control. Inside, he could hear Rail laughing with the girls, too loud, too comfortable. A sound ChiTown didn't like. It wasn't jealousy. It was recognition. He recognized the ambition, the desire, and the change in the 3 people that he trusted most. He could see the storm forming inch by inch, and he knew once Rail wanted something, he didn't stop till he got it. The end of chapter.
You looking like trouble. What they call you, ma?
They call me Mimi.
Cute name. Fitting too. Me, ChiTown. Don't forget it.
Gotta handle mine.
2 months later, ChiTown and me were inseparable. Boyfriend and girlfriend without ever saying the word. I was crashing in his sister's basement most nights, only slipping back to Henry Horner when I had to. He protected me in ways I didn't even...
They call me ChiTown. Tony James to my mama, but out here, I'm the one they whisper about when the snow hits the pavement. I don't chase trouble. Trouble usually finds me, so I move smooth, keep my paper crisp and my eyes sharper.
You working tonight? Yeah, gotta stack quick. My man locked up. You need a partner? Maybe I do.
25,000. You bring it, I bring him home clean.
We don't have time to play. Then we don't.
After Miami, we boarded a flight back to Chicago. Designer bags, fresh weaves, pocketbooks stuffed with enough money to change lives. First thing we did, walk straight into Cook County's bond office.
Here we go.
We told you we was gonna bring you home.
Damn, I miss y'all. Y'all did all this for me?
For us. Let's roll.
In Washington, that's where we landed. Hood famous, busy, loud, full of opportunity. Life smoothed out like a fresh silk press. Me and Buttafly kept the flow hot at Arnie's and Harp tips steady.
It wasn't just a friend, he was family. ChiTown's left hand, right hand, back shield. While my brother came home to women who moved for him, money in every corner, and a life smooth as silk, I watched. Not